A Shaftesbury couple has launched a weekly YouTube series to help singers who want to make a living from their videos. Andy, Russell and Samantha say that a former Shaftesbury Town Councillor inspired them to launch this video venture.
Hey singers!
My name's Samantha.
And I'm Andy. You're watching this because you're a singer, or you're training to be a singer, or you want to be a singer one day.
Samantha is well known around Shaftesbury from her sellout art centre and fringe shows, where she flawlessly reproduces the unique sound of icons like Vera Lynn, Dusty and Judith Durham of the Seekers.
There'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover.
She's used to performing for cameras, but offering video advice and encouragement for viewers who want to make money from their talent is a new departure for her. Her manager, Andy, got the idea when he bumped into Lester Taylor, who was Shaftesbury's deputy mayor until last May's elections. Lester's gained almost 49,000 YouTube followers of his political opinion YouTube channel, for which he uses the screen name of Jeff Taylor.
We just met in the supermarket and we were chatting about what he was up to, and he mentioned what he was doing, and so our little brains started thinking, yes, we've got all this information that we'd like to get to people, and here's a way that we can.
Sharing tips on a vocal performing vocation seems far removed from views on Brexit or Brussels, but Andy soon saw the potential of video.
And he did say if he doesn't get about 17,000 views within the first 20 minutes of putting a video out, he's disappointed. So he's established himself very nicely on YouTube.
And he's chosen a no-nonsense series title so viewers know what to expect.
The channel is called How to Be a Singer and Make Money, which is, we hope, the shortest way we can say, if you want to be a singer and have a career but not get discovered and it's not all about being a pop singer, blah, 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 we tried to think of a shorter way of saying that.
But Samantha says Andy makes a serious point. Many people assume the only mark of singing success is to win a TV talent show.
The chances of you being picked on any of these programmes, even being picked to perform on the programmes, let alone win, is so minute that there are lots of people out there who don't realise that they can make a living as a singer without having to be discovered, as it were.
Often people considering a professional singing career assume they'll gain more glamorous studio-based jobs, recording backing vocals for pop stars or session singing for advertising jingles. Samantha says there is regular singing work in and around Shaftesbury that doesn't require travel to major cities.
A lot of those opportunities are more plentiful as well. There are loads and loads of pubs, if that's the sort of music that you're doing, that you can go to who are taking music. And there are lots of care homes that want people in, and you can do it more regularly, so it becomes a more sensible and organised way of working it out.
Andy accepts it would be difficult forging a full-time living from Shaftesbury area pubs alone.
I would say most professional singers don't just do one type of work. They mix various types of work. A lot of them, Samantha, for instance, teaches as well. A lot of musicians teach, and that is a big core part of their income. So for pubs, you could perhaps earn £100 or £200 per session, and you'd probably get a maximum of 2 a week if you were working really hard at getting lots of gigs. So that's not enough to live on. But if you add that to maybe 2 or 3 care home gigs during the week, and some teaching work and a bit of session work, and you add all that together, then it can become a living.
Andy and Samantha's series isn't a how-to guide for technical singing skills. It won't tackle topics like staying in tune or vocal exercises. The videos are all about managing a career and finding employment opportunities.
We also spend a lot of time talking about the vocal standard needed for different types of work, and it's often a lot lower than people think. A lot of people will say, well, I'm not a brilliant singer, so how would I make a living? But you don't need to be a brilliant singer for many of these types of work. So as long as you're okay, reasonable singer, then that's fine. And in a pub with a backing band, Samantha, for instance, is a classical singer, but she can get by because she's well trained singing rock in a pub. People will still think that's a perfectly decent gig to listen to.
Is the notion of working the room quite important then? Because sometimes, like you say, I have seen singers who haven't been great, but they've had a real stage presence, even in a pub, and you felt engaged with them, so they've been entertaining. The flip side can be you can see a note-perfect singer who just looks awkward, and it's a bit of an uncomfortable experience.
That is exactly right. There are 2 completely different sides to singing, performing. One is the technical side and one is the performance side. So if people enjoy the performance, they will be happy. If you're also technically good, that's even better. But as you said, if you're technically good but you're not a great performer, then it doesn't leave people feeling good at the end of the gig.
You've just got to balance the two. That's the main thing, keeping the balance going.
And we do cover how to be a performer. So although we're not covering the technical side of singing, there are aspects to how to make sure people enjoy your performance, which you can be taught.
The assumption, I suppose, is, because YouTube, I suppose, is a bit like television, is that you've got to give the videos your undivided attention. And people might think, who aren't into YouTube, that it's not going to work because people can't give up that time if they've got busy lives. You, from your experience from your friends, find that people engage with YouTube in a different way to what perhaps older generations might assume?
Yeah, I think a lot of the time, unless it's something that is specifically image-based, a lot of people will put it on in the background as if it's the radio and might glance over at it if something happens that they think, oh, I want to look at that. But generally, they just want to listen to it while they're doing something else, multitasking.
And Andy, you've come up with a clever idea to, if somebody's cooking dinner, to get their attention if there's something they need to physically get in front of the screen to see.
Oh yes, we have our pings. So every now and again there will be just a little ping in the background, which will alert people to know that there's a bit of text has appeared on screen or something that they might want to bring their attention to momentarily.
The couple is committed to posting regularly.
Well, they're going to be once a week, every Thursday. I think it's 3:00.
Each episode will be around 8 minutes in duration, as Andy understands that people are less likely to watch a YouTube video if it's longer than 10 minutes. He's plotted out plenty of programmes.
At the moment we've got about, I think it's about 65 planned, so that'll keep us going one a week for more than a year. But an aspect of this type of video is also that you generally get a lot of involvement from your audience. So we are expecting and hoping that people will come to us with comments saying, could you please do a video on this aspect of it? And that will allow it to go on much longer.
You're not concerned that loads of people around Shaftesbury who can sing fairly well are going to be trying to go for gigs where you could be going for that work?
Do you know what? I think it's excellent. The more people who are performing, the better. Will just drive the standard up, which in some places isn't particularly high.
Andy and Samantha have spent much time on each episode so far. They've had to set up the camera, microphones and lighting equipment in a makeshift studio in the Grosvenor Arms' Assembly Room ballroom. There's the scripting of the videos, the performance and the editing of the footage afterwards. They're doing all of this to give something back, although they hope there could be future cash reward.
Well, there's two aspects to it. One is that we spent 4 or 5 years learning all this stuff ourselves, and it was blooming hard work, and there was nowhere to go to find out the information. So we just wanted to do it because we don't want other people to have to go through that learning curve. The idea of every single person learning the same stuff over and over again, the long, hard way, just seems awful. So we wanted to do it, irrespective of the money. And the other side is that if you do get a big enough audience on YouTube, then the advertising revenue is shared between yourself and YouTube. You have to hit a certain size of audience to achieve that. But once you have, then you can make some income from it. And we're hoping that the 4 hours it takes to produce each 10-minute video will eventually bring us some income. That would be nice.
You can find a link to Andy and Samantha's YouTube channel if you follow the link on thisisalfred.com.
Listen to Alfred.